Hello, I decided to do a little video, really quick, hopefully, see how long I start talking for, about dating. Because I have recently kind of got a new kind of outlook on dating, a new kind of perspective on it that's been really working for me. And when I talk to like some of my other friends, they're kind of a little bit disheartened by it, and they're kind of like deleting apps and stuff, and I'm not using them anymore, and oh, they're no good and whatever. And so I kind of thought I'd make this video so that maybe it will help people a little bit. So I used to be one of those people who would download a dating app, and I would like scroll through trying to find like Mr. Perfect. So I was looking for someone that had all the kind of qualities that I was looking for in a person, and I would only kind of match with them if they ticked all those boxes. So I was like really kind of harsh with how I kind of picked people out. You know, if I didn't, I don't know, it was a bit judgy, I guess. Whereas now I kind of like, obviously got to find them attractive. Like, I don't agree with this, like, you know, meeting up with someone if you don't think they're attractive. However, having said that, bearing in mind that it's a photograph, and people in real life and how they talk and how the, you know, their essence animates their face is very different to a photograph. I recently went on a date with a guy, and he was actually better looking in real life than he was on his photos. So I was like, I hit jackpot there. But you know, you can't judge somebody by what's on their photograph. So you kind of have to give people the benefit of the doubt. So if you think, yeah, they're okay, see what they look like in real life, then you kind of open that up. Whereas if you're like, no, very dismissive, then you'll never meet that person. You'll never know that they could have actually been, you know, you could have actually been attracted to them. Because it's not just what someone looks like that you're attracted to, it's a lot of other kind of complex things, and you can't get that from like a 2D photograph. The other thing was that I used to, when I used to match with someone, I would never message someone first, like ever. I was like, the guy should message me. And so I only kind of had a certain type of person that would message me, and often that person's quite, you know, if someone's messaging you first, sometimes you attract the wrong kind of people, because what ends up happening is you reply to them because they're interested in you, but you're not interested in them yet. So there's kind of a different dynamics there between you, so it doesn't always work that way. I'm just thinking I'm talking rubbish, or is this actually like, you know, so kind of like, why should it be up to the guy to message you first? Like, why should that be the case? Like, you're in a relationship, and if you want a relationship that's got equality or equity, is probably a better way of putting it, then you kind of have to start the dating process like that also. You know, it's like when you go on a date and the guy doesn't pay, like, why is that a problem? Because, you know, if I went on a date with someone, I was like, oh, I'll get these, I wouldn't be thinking, oh, they should get this. There's no expectation there of this person should pay this. Why should they pay for you? Why should they? Why is that an ingrained kind of social norm that you're okay with? Because I wouldn't be okay with that. Like, if you want to pay for me, great, like, I'm really appreciative, thank you very much for that, but you don't have to. You know, that's completely your choice. Like, don't feel like you have to. And you know, vice versa. So there shouldn't really be those dynamics when dating either. If you don't want to live your life like that, then why are you dating like that? Another thing is that people treat dating like the first date has got to be like fantastic, it's got to be everything that you're looking for, it's got to be like really fun and active, and you've got to like have lots of fun on it. And you're kind of judging that person like in like an interview format, like, oh, asking them loads of questions and judging them on the responses to that, without kind of any understanding that dating for some people is quite an uncomfortable situation. Not everyone's kind of confident to kind of have a conversation that's normal. I go on dates with people a lot, and it is an interview format. Like, I feel kind of like uncomfortable because they can't just have a conversation. Like, if you're having a conversation with someone, there are pauses, like there are times where it's silent, and that's normal. That means that you relax, you can, you know, have a conversation. Whereas if it's constantly bombarding with questions, what you tend to do, particularly if you date an introvert, so someone who's dating me, like, I shut down, like, I can't think like of something to say to contribute to the conversation, because I'm so kind of thinking about the last question that I've just been asked and the response that I've just given to it, and I can't like be myself if I'm just bombarded with questions. So you've got to kind of understand that your approach to dating somebody has got to be different depending on the person, and if you're not getting out of someone what you want from them, it's probably because you're not communicating with them very well. A lot of the time it's very like, oh, you should entertain me, you should make it fun for me. It's like, well, you've got to kind of put the effort in as well. It's like when someone messages you on an app, like I kind of have like a 3-strike rule. So if I've asked someone a question and they don't give me much back, I'll try again to initiate conversation. So, you know, I'll try and ask them something else and, you know, try and like start conversation that way. And then if I don't really get much back, so like a lot of the time people just reply to your questions, they don't ask a further question. So like if you're in a conversation, generally you've got one person asking a question, the other person responds and asks another question, and it develops like that. Like it's normal kind of conversation dynamics. But some people fall into the trap of online messaging, of kind of like asking a question and then the other person gives a response, but then you've got nowhere else to go. And it's like, I made the effort to ask you something, you kind of need to come back with something else. And I know that girls do this a lot, like they just give clipped responses, and it's like you kind of have to meet the guy halfway. And similarly guys do it to me, and it's like you've got to kind of meet me halfway. If you want to have a conversation with me, you kind of have to put the effort in. So after 3 times of me trying, I just kind of go, this guy's clearly not for me, because he hasn't developed those communication skills yet. So I don't want a relationship with someone who can't, you know, communicate. Like communication is a key thing, like that's a key quality that people that are interested in long-term relationships look for, because that makes or breaks a relationship. If you aren't comfortable having a conversation with somebody, then like about in-depth things, then you're not going to work in a relationship. So unless you're a surface person, like, you know, obviously 2 surface people get on really well, but if you've got one person that's deep, one person that's just a surface person, it doesn't really work that well for the deep person, because they're just not fulfilled in that way. And then what else is there that people tend to do a lot of? Oh, so this is another one. So when you're on a date with somebody, people get so concerned with what the other person thinks of them that they just don't be themselves. Like, my grandma's terrible, but you know what I mean. So like, it's kind of, they'll go on a date and they will think, oh, this person's really attractive, like why would they like me? Well, of course they would like you. Like, they have seen your profile, they clearly find you attractive, because they wouldn't have started speaking to you if they didn't. So that's the first thing. Like, have a bit of confidence in yourself. That person is interested in you because they've seen your picture and they want to talk to you. Obviously not a match, like people swipe right a lot of the time because they're insecure, and they want to see who likes them first before they put effort in, because they don't want to put effort in and get rejected. So usually insecure people swipe right a lot. Whereas if you are kind of a person where you value yourself and you know what you want, then you only swipe right on the people that you would actually date. So there's different people that use the different apps, because that's another thing, like the people using the apps are not like you. Some of them are, but some of them aren't, and you have to kind of put filters in place to isolate those people out. So for example, if I match with somebody, I give them a couple of days to see whether or not they talk to me. If they don't, I think, well, I will message them and see, and then see if there's a conversation initiated. You can tell quite quickly if someone is interested, because conversation flows very easily when you're both interested. So for example, I matched with a guy and I was talking to him, and he was just really easy to talk to, and then we went on a date the next day and it was really quick, and yet we didn't end up being compatible, but it flew, you know, it flew, no, what's the word? It flowed. So it was easy. Whereas if you're struggling to make conversation with someone, there's something stopping that conversation. So it's either the other person's insecurity, or they're just not interested, or whatever. So you kind of have to kind of fill that bit out first. But you've got to understand that if somebody doesn't want to talk to you, it's not you. They don't know you. They know nothing about you. Like, they, you know, a lot of people get ghosted and stuff, and it's like, that is how they are. It's nothing to do with how you are. Like, remember who you are, remember how you would communicate with somebody, and don't do what they would do. Like, be the positive person, be the one that makes the most effort, be the one that makes the effort to talk, be the one that wants to get to know the other person. Another thing is when people go on dates and they see someone and they're not attracted to them, they ultimately shut down and then they make no effort, and it's like, well, you've both decided to meet. If you don't find them attractive, that's fine. It doesn't mean that that person doesn't have any kind of use for you. It's almost like, oh, I don't fancy them, there's no point me bothering. That person could be really interesting. You could have a really good conversation with them. You could find out a lot of stuff. You could be, you know, they could give you lessons in things. Like, every opportunity, every time you meet someone, it's an opportunity to grow in some kind of way. So don't write people off. Like, you can still have a good time even if you're not attracted to the person. So, like, treating dating as an all or nothing thing, you're going to get disheartened by it. Because you're going to think, oh, it's a waste of my time. Like, nothing is a waste of your time. Like, nothing is. Even uncomfortable situations and like, terrible experiences, you learn something from them. Like, they are good for you. And so why would you not want to do that? So yeah, going back to the point about if someone, say for example, someone, you've been on a date, you really like them, they didn't message you back, it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. Like, there's not. Like, it's literally just that what that person's looking for, they don't see in you. And sometimes that could be because then they don't give you the opportunity to show that. So it could be like, yeah, you know, you might, that day you might not have been feeling great, you might not have been being your best self, but when you meet someone that's right for you, you feel comfortable in their presence. You don't feel uncomfortable. Like, they put you at ease and you feel good, and you put that other person at ease. More importantly, it's not just about you and how you feel, it's like what impact are you having on that other person. You know, I remember dates that I've been on in the past and I've been terrible. Like, I was like, I remember I was younger and I was really passionate, I was really kind of driven and ambitious, and I was looking for that in somebody else. And when I met somebody who wasn't any of those things, and he was actually quite, it seemed like he was suffering from depression, to be honest, on reflection, but I was kind of just really not very compassionate with him, and I kind of treated it like, oh, I'm not interested in him because he's not anything that I'm looking for. And I wasn't unpleasant to him, but I could have been a lot nicer, I could have been a lot kinder, and I kind of think I don't want to be like that on a date anymore. And so I think that's something that you learn after you've been on quite a lot of dates. And you realise that actually, like, it's not about you, it's not about what you want, it's about coming together and seeing what each other want and if you'd be good for each other. And kind of like, just because you don't see it on that first date doesn't mean that it's not there. Like, that person could have lots of hidden qualities that they just didn't feel comfortable talking about. You know, you don't want to kind of be too boastful on a date, and you don't want to, you know, fabricate things, and, you know, you kind of want to be honest about stuff, but, you know, you try to keep back negative stuff, but then that's not really, not negative stuff, but I'm giving an opinion. So like, I went on a date recently with a guy who was trained to be a teacher, and he was really like bright and bushy-tailed about teaching, but I was like, when you get to how long I've been teaching for, you won't feel the same as you feel right now. Like, it will be different, but that comes across as negative even though it's a realistic comment. So it's kind of like, I shouldn't have said that, but that I wouldn't be me if I didn't say that. So it's kind of finding that balance really between making a good impression but not distorting who you are as a person, like trying to still be yourself. So, you know, if somebody doesn't kind of like click with you, that's not a negative on you. There's not anything wrong with you at all. It's just that you weren't a good fit with that other person. So just keep looking, like, and it's kind of like, you know, people get disheartened if they've been looking for a while and they've still not found anybody, and it's like, well, you know, it's not meant to be really easy. Like, you know, these people that meet somebody and kind of like get infatuated and think that it's amazing, get into relationships really quickly because everything feels great, but they've not actually thought about the long-term potential of that relationship and whether it's kind of worth going into, and if you're right for each other and if you'd be good for each other. And like, I would much rather be cautious than just jump in head first and damage myself in ways that I have done in the past. So for me, like, if it takes a long time, that's fine. Like, just, you know, go on a date. It's a funny story that you can tell everybody about what happened. Like, I've like had like loads of weird and wonderful experiences with people on dates that have kind of made me realise what I want from a person, and kind of realised what I don't want and what I can compromise on and what I can't. And like, I'm not kind of going into dating thinking that I'm gonna find the one. I'm kind of going into dating thinking I might meet someone nice who I might have a good few like good experiences with, and it might last a little bit, it might last a while, but let's just kind of like see what happens, like not putting pressure on it. I think that's the problem with dating. People put pressure on it, like, oh, I have to meet somebody, I have to like click with them, there has to be a spark there has to be you know, like we have to get into a relationship straight away and we've got to see each other like all the time. It's like, why does it have to be like that? Like, it doesn't have to be. It can be fun. It's just meeting new people. It's like getting to know people that you wouldn't come across in everyday life. So dating's a really good opportunity to kind of network with people as well. Like, it sounds ridiculous, but it is. Like, you develop your communication skills, you get really good at kind of putting the other person before yourself, because you know, you realise that when people go on dates, like, they want to know about the other person, but they also want to talk about themselves. So if you give them that space, that's another thing as well, like when you're on a date, like, you've got someone sat in front of you that will listen to everything that you say, everything. Like, normally in an everyday conversation, people like not very good at listening, so they kind of like tune in and out of conversation. They don't give you the full attention. You can tell because their eyes glaze over a little bit, and yeah, they get a bit spacey. So I don't do that, by the way. I listen fully, but this is why it frustrates me so much, because no one else does it. Well, some people do, but most people don't, particularly in group situations. But anyway, so on a date, you've got some undivided attention. Like, why wouldn't you utilise that? Why wouldn't you kind of like think, yeah, this is like, it's like when people go into job interviews, it's the only time that you get to talk about yourself, and like, you don't get that normally, so why wouldn't you enjoy that? Like, instead of viewing it as a negative, because like job interviews are very much like dating. You know, you go into a job interview thinking, I want this job, I really care about this job, and you end up performing really badly because you're not kind of thinking, this is just an experience, and just see how I am in this experience, and I'm just gonna, you know, answer honestly or whatever. You get like really under pressure, like, I've got to perform. And it's the same with dating. You kind of like that, and then that means that you come across not like yourself. Like, if you were yourself, people would probably, you know, be interested, but because you've got this kind of anxiety, or you've got this kind of like pressure, or you talk too much, or like, there's lots of things that happen on date situations that don't happen in everyday life. This is why sometimes it's a lot easier to meet people when it's not in a dating situation, like when you're mates or something, because you are relaxed and you are yourself, and you can shine, and people can see your really good qualities, and you're not trying to hide anything, because you're just kind of being yourself. So people are more accepting of your flaws. Whereas in a date situation, it doesn't tend to go like that. People are very harsh, very fickle, and so, you know, you've got to kind of view dating as just a fun activity, you know, to spend some time with somebody else who doesn't really know you that well, to get to know someone, develop your communication skills. Like, it can be a really good experience for you as a person. It'll grow you as a person if you don't think that you're going to get something out of it. Whereas if you're looking for something, definitely want it straight away or whatever, you're going to get disheartened. You're going to kind of, you know, question your self-worth. Why doesn't anybody like me? Well, you know, not everyone's going to like you. Not everyone's going to find you. You don't find everyone attractive, so why would they find you attractive? Like, you've just got to hit on that right person, that person that does find you attractive, both what you look like and as a person. So get an app, speak to some people, throw the rule book out the window, like, do what you want, and good luck trying to find what you're looking for.